Episode 10, The Morning After. Katherine Morrison woke at 5:47 a.m., 13 minutes before her alarm. Her body had forgotten how to sleep past dawn after 9 days of budget travel wake-up calls and cross-country red-eyes. The hotel room felt too quiet, too clean, too separate from the world she'd been living in. She lay in the darkness, staring at the ceiling, thinking about Westfield's 7 a.m. meeting. 3 hours from now, she'd be sitting across from him, in her own conference room, defending reforms that threatened everything he believed about running a profitable airline. Her phone buzzed. Sarah Chen, already awake. Miguel says good morning. He's on duty at the main entrance. Thought you'd want to know. Katherine smiled, despite the knot in her stomach. Small victories. A security guard who felt seen. A daughter on the honor roll. These were the things that mattered, even if they didn't show up in quarterly earnings reports. She showered, dressed in her armor, charcoal suit, cream blouse, the Cartier watch her board had given her when she made CEO. The watch felt heavier than it used to. She remembered James Rivera checking his phone for the time, unable to afford even a basic watch after 12 years with the company. The lobby was empty except for Miguel at his post. He straightened when he saw her, his smile genuine. Ms. Morrison, early morning. The earliest, Katherine agreed. How's Maria doing with her studies? She stayed up until midnight working on her science project, building a model of the solar system. His pride was unmistakable. She wants to be an astronaut. Smart kid. She gets that from her father. Miguel's eyes widened slightly. Katherine realized she'd never complimented him before, not in 5 years of him opening doors for her, calling her cars, working night shifts to make his daughter's dreams possible. Thank you, ma'am. That means a lot. Katherine nodded and headed for her office, thinking about all the Miguels and Marias whose dreams depended on decisions made in boardrooms they'd never see. Sarah was already at her desk when Katherine arrived at 6:23 a.m., surrounded by 3 laptops and what looked like the entire contents of HR's filing system. Please tell me you didn't spend all night here. Only until 2, Sarah said, not looking up from her screen. Then I went home, slept for 3 hours, and came back. Coffee's fresh. You're going to need it. Katherine poured herself a cup and leaned against Sarah's desk. What did you find? Patterns. Lots of patterns. Sarah pulled up a spreadsheet. In the last 18 months, we've had 47 formal discrimination complaints from passengers. 47. You know how many made it to your desk? 0. 0. They all got resolved at the VP level or below. Resolved, meaning the passenger got a voucher and the complaint disappeared into the system. Sarah clicked to another tab. Employee complaints are worse. 163 formal grievances filed. 80% involved discrimination, harassment, or unsafe working conditions. Resolution rate, 12%. The other 88% just vanished. Where? Richard Pemberton's office. Every complaint that might cost money to fix gets escalated for review and then dies. I found a folder on the shared drive labeled Pending Review that goes back 3 years. It's a graveyard, Katherine. 3 years of people asking for help, and we just buried them. Katherine set down her coffee cup before she could throw it. Send me everything. Every complaint, every grievance, every piece of evidence that we've been systematically ignoring our people. Already in your inbox, but Katherine, Sarah's voice dropped. Some of these complaints name Pemberton directly. If you use this against him in the meeting with Westfield, he's going to know where it came from. He'll come after both of us. Let him come. We're done protecting people who hurt our employees. Sarah studied her for a long moment. You're really doing this. You're actually going to war with the entire executive team. Not the entire team, just the ones who forgot we're supposed to serve people, not profit margins. Katherine checked her watch. Westfield will be here in 30 minutes. I need you to do something for me. Anything. Call James Rivera. Tell him I want him at the all-hands meeting on Friday. Front row. I want every frontline employee to see that we're serious about change. Sarah's smile was fierce. Consider it done. Marcus Westfield arrived at exactly 7 a.m., flanked by 2 board members Katherine didn't recognize. Both men, both in their 60s, both wearing expressions that suggested they'd already decided how this meeting would end. Katherine, Westfield didn't offer his hand. This is Gerald Blackstone and Robert Chen. They represent our largest institutional shareholders. I thought they should hear your plans directly. So that's how he was playing it. Bring in the money, make this about shareholder value, force her to defend reforms in purely financial terms. Katherine had expected nothing less. Gentlemen, coffee? Let's skip the pleasantries, Blackstone said, settling into the chair at the head of Katherine's conference table, her chair in her office. We've reviewed the board minutes from yesterday's meeting. Your unconventional approach has raised concerns. My approach to running the company I was hired to lead. Your approach to spending $18 million on what amounts to employee appeasement, Robert Chen corrected. Money that could be returned to shareholders or invested in fleet modernization. Katherine sat across from them, deliberately choosing the position of challenger rather than authority. Let them think they had control. You've seen the preliminary numbers? We've seen enough, Westfield said. 18 million in immediate costs, plus whatever this independent safety review board will require. Meanwhile, our competitors are cutting costs and gaining market share. Delta just announced a 3% reduction in operational expenses. United is streamlining their workforce. We're moving in the opposite direction. We're moving in the direction of sustainability, Katherine countered. Delta's 3% reduction came from cutting maintenance crews. They've had 4 emergency landings in the past month. United's streamlining, they're facing a class action lawsuit from passengers who were forcibly removed from oversold flights. Is that the model we want to follow? It's the model that keeps stock prices up, Blackstone said bluntly, which is our primary concern. Then your primary concern is short-sighted. Katherine pulled up the presentation she'd prepared at 2 a.m. Let me show you what your short-term thinking has cost us. She walked them through the numbers Sarah had compiled. Customer retention rates down 14% year-over-year. High-value business travelers switching to competitors at twice the industry average. Social media sentiment analysis showing Skyward ranked last among major carriers in customer satisfaction. Employee turnover costs totaling $23 million annually, more than her proposed reforms would cost. These are the metrics you should be worried about, Katherine said. Not whether we're spending $18 million to fix a broken system, but why we're losing business travelers who generate 60% of our revenue. Why our Net Promoter Score has dropped 18 points in 2 years. Why our best employees are leaving for competitors who pay less but treat them better. Customer satisfaction doesn't pay dividends, Chen said. Profit margins do. Customer satisfaction creates profit margins. Southwest has the highest customer satisfaction in the industry and the highest profit margins. Virgin America was ranked number 1 in customer service and had the lowest cost structure. The correlation isn't coincidental, it's causal. Happy employees create happy customers. Happy customers become loyal customers. Loyal customers generate sustainable profits. Westfield leaned back in his chair. You're asking us to bet the company on a theory. I'm asking you to bet on data. On 15 years of industry research showing that employee engagement directly correlates with financial performance. On our own internal metrics showing that our current approach is failing. Katherine clicked to her final slide. I went undercover for 9 days. I saw things that should terrify every person in this room. Not because they're illegal, though some of them are, but because they're destroying the company from the inside out. She told them about the flight attendant working 3 jobs, the mechanic signing off on incomplete inspections, the gate agent crying in the bathroom because she couldn't meet impossible metrics. She told them about James Rivera's grandmother's gold watch, about Elena Vasquez's exhaustion, about Captain Chen's near-miss data. These aren't isolated incidents, Katherine said. They're symptoms of a system that's been optimized past the breaking point. And if we don't fix it now, there won't be a company left to optimize. The room was silent. Blackstone and Chen exchanged glances. Westfield's expression was unreadable. Finally, Blackstone spoke. You have 10 days, Ms. Morrison. Not 14. 10. Show us measurable improvement in customer satisfaction metrics, employee retention, and operational efficiency. If you can't, I know. You'll call another board vote and I'll be gone. Actually, Chen said. We'll call a special shareholders meeting and recommend your removal for breach of fiduciary duty. It's cleaner that way. No confidence votes, no public drama, just a quiet exit and a carefully worded press release about pursuing new opportunities. Katherine felt the threat land like a physical blow. They weren't just planning to fire her, they were planning to destroy her reputation in the process. Understood, she said, keeping her voice steady. 10 days. I'll have preliminary results by Monday. Westfield stood, buttoning his jacket. I hope you know what you're doing, Katherine, because if you're wrong about this, you won't just lose your job. You'll lose everything. They left without another word. Katherine sat alone in her conference room, staring at the presentation that had failed to move them, and thought about everything she was risking. Her phone buzzed. Sarah. James Rivera is on his way up. He wants to talk before you start your day. Katherine checked her reflection in the window, smoothed her jacket, and prepared to face the man whose trust she needed to earn. James Rivera looked different in civilian clothes. Jeans and a Mets hoodie, sneakers that had seen better days. Without the uniform, he could have been any young man riding the subway to work, anonymous and unremarkable. But his eyes held the same intensity Katherine had seen on Flight 2247, the same quiet strength that had kept him professional while a passenger assaulted him. Thank you for coming, Katherine said, gesturing to the couch rather than the conference table. Less formal, less corporate. Coffee? I'm good. James sat on the edge of the couch, not relaxing into it. Sarah said you wanted me at the all-hands meeting Friday. Front row. I do. I want every employee to see that we're serious about change. That means putting frontline workers in positions of visibility and authority. Or it means using me as a prop. Trot out the flight attendant who got punched, show everyone that management cares, then go back to business as usual once the cameras are gone. Katherine absorbed the accusation without flinching. Is that what you think I'm doing? I don't know what you're doing. Yesterday, you spent 3 hours with me and the coalition listening to us tear apart your company's policies. You apologized, you promised change. Then you went back to your office and I didn't hear from you for 18 hours. James's voice was controlled, but angry. I get that you're busy. I get that you have board meetings and shareholder calls and whatever else CEOs do. But you asked me to trust you. Trust requires communication. He was right. Katherine had been so focused on preparing for Westfield's ambush that she'd forgotten about the people who were counting on her to follow through. You're absolutely right, Katherine said. I should have called you last night. Should have updated you on what was happening, what I was planning. I'm sorry. James studied her for a long moment. What happened this morning? Sarah said you had a meeting with Westfield. He brought 2 institutional shareholders. They gave me 10 days instead of 14. If I can't show measurable improvement in customer satisfaction, employee retention, and operational efficiency, they're calling a special shareholders meeting to remove me for breach of fiduciary duty. Shit. Yeah. Katherine managed a tired smile. So I need your help more than ever. I need the coalition to help me identify quick wins, things we can fix immediately that will show results. I need frontline employees to tell me what changes will make the biggest difference in the shortest time. And I need people willing to stand up at that all-hands meeting and tell the truth about what it's like to work here. You want us to testify against the company, in public. I want you to testify for the company, for what it could be, for what it should be. Katherine leaned forward. James, I can't do this without you, without the coalition. Without people who are willing to risk their own positions to make this place better. I know I'm asking a lot. I know you have every reason not to trust me, but I'm asking anyway. James was quiet for so long that Katherine thought he might refuse. Then he pulled out his phone and started typing. I'm texting the coalition. We're meeting tonight at my place in Queens, 7 o'clock. You're invited. I'll be there. Good, because if we're going to save this company in 10 days, we need to start right now. James stood, then paused at the door. Katherine, don't make me regret this. I won't, Katherine promised, praying she could keep her word. The rest of the day was a blur of meetings, phone calls, and crisis management. Katherine met with the head of customer service, the VP of operations, and the director of training. She reviewed 3 years of incident reports, employee surveys, and customer feedback. She fired 2 middle managers who had been falsifying safety reports. She approved emergency funding for equipment repairs that had been delayed for months. By 6:30 p.m., Katherine was exhausted, running on coffee and determination. Sarah appeared in her doorway with a concerned expression. "You need to eat something before you go to Queens." "I'll grab something on the way." "Katherine?" Sarah's voice was firm. "You're no good to anyone if you collapse. Sit down. Eat this." She set down a container of pasta from the Italian place on the corner. "I already called your driver. He'll have you at James's apartment by 7. Katherine wanted to argue, but the smell of garlic and olive oil made her stomach growl. She couldn't remember the last time she'd eaten. "Thank you, Sarah. That's what I'm here for. Also," Sarah handed her a folder. "This is everything the coalition asked for. Budget breakdowns, staffing models, complaint resolution procedures. They'll want to review it tonight." Katherine took the folder, feeling the weight of it. The weight of responsibility. The weight of other people's hopes. "Sarah, what do you think my chances are?" Honestly? Sarah sat on the edge of Katherine's desk. "I think Westfield and his friends are going to do everything they can to destroy you. I think Pemberton is already building his case for why your reforms failed. I think you're fighting a war on multiple fronts with limited resources and less time than you need. That's not very encouraging. I'm not done." Sarah's smile was fierce. "I also think you're the first CEO we've had in a decade who actually gives a damn about the people who work here. I think the coalition is stronger than you realize. And I think 10 days is enough time to show that treating people with dignity isn't just the right thing to do, it's good business." Katherine felt something unknot in her chest. "You really believe that?" "I really do. Now eat your pasta and go meet your revolution. You've got a company to save." James Rivera's apartment in Queens was a third-floor walk-up in a building that had seen better decades. The hallway smelled like cooking spices and old carpet. Katherine could hear salsa music from one apartment, a baby crying from another. This was where her employees lived. This was the reality behind the salary numbers in HR reports. James opened the door before she could knock. "You found it. Your directions were good." Katherine stepped inside, surprised by the apartment's warmth. Photos on every wall, family, friends, places James had traveled. A bookshelf overflowing with novels. A small kitchen where someone was making coffee. "Everyone's in the living room," James said. "Fair warning, they're not all convinced this is a good idea." The living room was crowded. Diana Reeves sat on the couch with Elena Vasquez and Marcus Thompson. Captain Raymond Chen stood by the window with Angela Martinez. Thomas Okonkwo leaned against the wall, arms crossed. They all turned when Katherine entered. "Thank you for having me," Katherine said. "I know this is unusual." "This is insane," Thomas interrupted. The CEO of Skyward Airlines in James's apartment in Queens, drinking bodega coffee and talking about revolution. "If this goes wrong, we're all fired." "If this goes wrong, I'm fired too," Katherine said. "And unlike you, I don't have union protection." That got a few surprised looks. Diana Reeves gestured to an empty chair. "Sit down. We've got a lot to cover and not much time." For the next 3 hours, they worked. Katherine learned that the coalition had already been meeting for months, documenting problems, building cases for reform. They had spreadsheets showing how policy changes affected frontline operations. They had testimony from dozens of employees ready to speak out. They had solutions, real, practical solutions that would cost less than Katherine had budgeted. "The meal allowance restoration," Elena said. "We don't need $15 per diem. We need $12 and access to crew cafeterias at cost. That saves you $3 million annually and still gives us what we need." "The crew rest periods," Raymond Chen added. "We don't need full hotel rooms for every layover under 8 hours. We need clean, quiet rest areas at major hubs. FAA already requires the space. We just need you to actually staff and maintain them. Cost, $200,000 per hub. Benefit, pilots who aren't flying exhausted." One by one, they walked Katherine through reforms that were cheaper, faster, and more effective than what she'd proposed. They knew their jobs better than any executive ever could. They knew what would work, because they lived it every day. By 10 p.m., they had a revised plan. By 11 p.m., they had implementation timelines. By midnight, they had a list of employees willing to speak at Friday's all-hands meeting. This could actually work, Katherine said, staring at the documents spread across James's coffee table. We could actually pull this off. We could, Diana agreed. But you need to understand something, Katherine. This isn't about saving your job. This is about saving our jobs, our livelihoods, our dignity. If you're doing this to look good for the board or the media, we're done. I'm doing this because I saw what my policies did to people like you, Katherine said, because I spent 9 days living the reality you face every day, and I can't unsee it. Because going back to the way things were would make me complicit in a system I now know is broken. The room was silent. Then Thomas Okonkwo spoke. All right, we're in. But if you betray us, you'll have every right to destroy me. I know. Katherine stood, gathering her things. I'll see you all Friday. Front row. We're going to show this company what real leadership looks like. As she left James's apartment and headed down the stairs, Katherine felt something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. Not the hollow corporate optimism of quarterly earnings calls, but real, tangible hope that change was possible. Her phone buzzed as she reached the street. Sarah. Westfield just leaked your 10-day deadline to the Wall Street Journal. Stock dropped another 2% in after-hours trading. Board members are calling for emergency meeting Monday morning. Katherine looked up at James's building, at the lights and windows where her employees lived their lives, and made her choice. Let them call their meeting. We'll be ready. She had 10 days to save her company. 9 days left now. And for the first time since this began, Katherine Morrison believed she might actually succeed.
Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures. Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures.